باش توصل للقمة لازم تبعد عن كل شي سلبي. خلونا بوزيتيف الآن.
Hello and welcome to خلونا Positive. In this show, I want you to ask yourself, are you able to read your favorite international author's book without any translation to your language? Do you really not care about the bad dubbing of your favorite TV show? Or you just don't want to say that? Have you ever thought, what would the results be if English was one of the languages you really master? Do you know how important English is today in everything in our daily life? In all the fields. As many of you have requested English to be at the top of our interests, today we have decided to think and speak this worldwide spread language from A to Z. We're going to talk about many things with some fluent English speakers, Algerians who speak this language because they're concerned, because they're love to it, and not because they came from an English-speaking country, or they studied English at the university. So please welcome the current president of Half Price Algeria, Nasif Abdelraoufa. Nasif, hello and welcome.
So
How are you doing?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, please. And we have also with us the young novelist and architect Fadwa Shawi. Fadwa, hello.
Hello,
And welcome.
thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, please. And we also have statistics and applied economics student Mohammed Alwi. Mohammed,
Hello.
from Batna, right?
Thank you for the invitation. Yes.
You're welcome, man. And we also have with us content creator and EU Goodwill Ambassador in Algeria, Noor Brahimi. The famous Noor Brahimi. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, please.
Thank you.
And we also are happy to have as the guest of honor, retired professor from the University of Algiers and PhD in comparative education from London University, Dr. Buthayna Shrayata. Dr. Buthayna, it's been ages since the Nobel Prize meeting. Do you remember?
Yes, let's hope you'll have the next Nobel Prize.
Inshallah. Hope so. Thank you very much for being with us. Please welcome.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back. As I said in the beginning, in my introduction, we have inspiring people today with us. Dr. Shwayat, as you can see, we have models in English, fluent speakers. We're going to listen to them speaking English. People who did efforts, make efforts, personal, individual efforts to learn this worldwide language. And you, as you said, a comparative education professor, you did many things in this field. How happy are you about them?
Well, first, thank you for the invitation. I'm absolutely elated to be here, surrounded by these beautiful young people who have made, to my mind, the right choice when they chose to work in English and not only learn it. How happy I am, I'm extremely happy because this means that Algerian youth are also part of this huge world, and a world that is becoming very much based on telecommunication, basically, in all of these industries. And the fact that they have been able, obviously, to be capable to break ties with historical things that were not too good for the Algerian mind by and large, and that is the colonial mind, if you want, that Algerians will only be able to communicate either in French or in Arabic. Now, what these young people have shown us and gave us a lesson today. It gave me a lesson at backstage. I found out that, and I understood also that you know, some of them have been through university training, and some of them have even stopped their university training in order to be able to prove that it is knowledge that is interesting, not just to go through your classical training. If you allow me to go on, since you asked me also as a comparative educationist, I mean, this to my mind has reminded me of a very beautiful period in the history of Arab-Islamic civilization. Is that when knowledge was really left to the knowers to do and not to the politicians to decide upon. And that is the period between the 9th century and the 12th century, when translation was, you know, the deed of 3 big schools in Iraq, when, you know, the civilization of the Abbasids has allowed both knowledge and translation to be on top of everything, right? So you absolutely have made me recall that period, which means that it is a period of revolutionary deeds and revolutionary actions, and I thank you for that.
So you're happy about that, and you'll be happier when you listen to them speaking about how they did to learn this inspiring language, how they did to get to this proficiency level of advanced level of English. I may start with you, the current president or the current manager of HALT Prize Algeria, Nasif Abdel Raouf, right? Before talking about this, the HALT Prize, I would love you to tell me more about your story with English.
Well, I would say that my story with English started as anyone who is present here with us. So since I was little, actually, I grew some kind of an interest into learning this language, because I've always been told that it's the global language. So actually, it started from school, like any other Algerian kid. The thing that even encouraged me more to study English was that my first teacher of English, he was very nice, and I think that she further emphasized that thought in my mind to learn English. And then it was mostly through movies, through watching TV, that really helped, and also to being exposed to the internet and to the outside world, I mean abroad. That also helped a lot in order to learn English.
Great. And you said that you were, you are a fifth-year student at the National Institute of Hydraulics, where you learn, your studies are in French, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Your English is very good, though. Noor Brahimi, Noor, the famous content creator, you did many things for the Algerian tourism. You speak, you talk to the world with your perfect English. You show them how beautiful Algeria is. You had technical studies, I guess, at the university, but you did a great job by speaking English in your vlogs.
Yeah, I wouldn't intimidate our viewers and say my English is perfect. Of course, I still make a lot of mistakes, but that's not the point. As long as, you know, the viewer is understanding what I'm talking about, then that's the point. It's still something to
Even in Arabic, we make mistakes, and
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely. So my story with English is basically back in the 2000s. I think I was, no, a little bit more. I was around 12. My sister was in high school, and one day she came back. She was like, there's someone who studies with me who speaks good English. And I was jealous as a competitive person. And so it just, you know, made me really interesting. Little did I know that at least 10 or 15 years later, we are, you know, going to be in an era, in one of the greatest era, where we have access to internet to, you know, use it and be doing the things that we're doing today and have such amazing opportunities. So it was basically a story of competition, and then TV and music.
From Batna,
yes,
Mohammed Alwi. Mohammed Alwi is one of the most inspiring people I have met. You said that you started learning English at the age of 16.
Yes, exactly.
How? Tell me.
So basically, I was introduced to this program, which is called Access Micro Scholarship Program, and it is provided around the country in all of the wilayas. So basically, the program itself, it provides the students with an opportunity to learn the language throughout creative methods, such as stories, plays, to play the plays, to write the scripts, to sing songs. So those methods were a little bit odd, especially at that time of your life. But if you get the chance to have that opportunity to get introduced to the language throughout such kind of methods, you will get the opportunity to not only learn the language, but also get more to know about the culture itself. And afterwards, it got more involved into extracurricular activities, and thing after thing led to another that made me develop my language.
This is what we need today. People who make efforts to learn this language. This is only what we need, Dr. Buthaina.
Right. You're absolutely right. But what I'm going to say is that they're not learning English, they're speaking it. Right? And the situation of English today in Algeria is a little bit like the situation of the revolution. When Ben Mhidi al-Arabi Rabbi Yarahmu told us that when people had doubts about, how to deal with the revolution, what to do with it, how to convince people, to join it, and he said just, throw it to the street.
And they get it. Yeah. We said we're going to speak English from A to Z.
Right, no, I'm translating here, right?
Okay.
You have to allow me this. I can't speak about Al-Arabi bin Mhidi without mentioning what he said in the text.
Yeah.
Right, so from the text, let's go to the translation. And he said, throw it to the street and it will liven up. And this is exactly
what's happening. We have another example. Fadwa, Fadwa Shawi is one of the nice examples of inspiring examples of English. Fadwa Shawi, you were the architect. You studied your studies were in French.
Yeah,
and
architecture and urbanism.
What difficulties did you find in learning English?
Well, actually, it's the story with English is I fell in love with English. My idea about learning it is fake it until you make it. I was faking that I was speaking English. I was pretending.
You started with something. You started with something.
Exactly. I was pretending that I'm really good at English. However, at some point, I was able to develop it, and what the difficulties actually was not finding people to communicate with, people to do mistakes with and correct it. That's the problem, because the majority, it's Arabic or French, but when it comes to English, you're not going to find that everyone speak it. So that's the main difficulty. However, that's a great experience, and now we're here.
I helped myself with movies and music, and of course books.
Yeah, I was proud because I was the only person who's Algerian, of course, who's living in Africa, who went to the conference.
She's not a Blida dweller, she's a world dweller. I mean, she is a world citizen.
We have the culture of like, oh, did you hear what they say? Oh my God, how can they?
So we encourage you, anyways, you and everyone to speak and to communicate in English. And in English we say practice makes perfect. So the more you practice, the better it becomes. Yeah. Like you just need to speak, even if you make mistakes. The problem is that sometimes when we speak in Arabic or in our dialect, we don't say, I made a mistake. Even if it's a shame on us when we make mistakes in Arabic, our mother tongue. English, we find it difficult when we make mistakes, or even in other languages. Was it the same for you guys, Noor?
I think it's a culture we have here, that you're not supposed to make mistakes in French and English. For me, I'm not afraid of making mistakes in English and in Arabic and in French, because I think it's important to not be afraid of being judged, because that's the thing, we're afraid of being judged. So for everyone who is learning English but also who wants to speak French, we have the culture of like, oh, did you hear what they say? Oh my God, how can they make such a mistake?
Yeah.
So I think detaching ourselves from expectations, and then that would be liberating, because the more mistakes you make, the better you get. So.
But what's the solutions for that? How can we fix that?
Practice.
This point exactly. Yeah.
Practice.
Practice.
Yes, and get away from judgment.
Without any hesitation, like practice.
Yes, practice, make mistakes, and then let people correct you.
Great.
That's as easy as that.
Mohammed Alwi, do you agree?
I totally agree with her, and like I personally see that the purpose of using the language is only to deliver an idea, to deliver the message to the other person or the other side of the conversation. Besides that, making mistakes will only lead to perfection. That's it.
That's great.
I totally agree with with the other guests. I think that making mistakes is part of the process of learning, and without mistakes, we would never be able to reach a certain level of proficiency and fluency. So making mistakes is part of the learning experience.
It's part of the learning process. We need to make mistakes. Even in life, we need to make mistakes in our experiences, personal and professional experiences, to get to better points. Maybe here in the studio we have other students from different middle schools and primaries who were happy to be with us, people who speak English and understand that from the beginning. That's something that makes me happy. The fact that we have students interested in English from their young ages. So this is what I'm going to do. Actually, I'm going to ask a question to the public here with us. So the question is, do you make individual efforts outside school to learn English? Raise up the green side of the banner if you agree. If you don't agree, the red side of the banner. Let's see the results. Okay. What kind of efforts do you do? Who wants to answer? You? Okay, go ahead, please.
Well, actually,
what's your name first?
My name is Romeisa.
Okay, Romeisa.
My first interest in English was when I went to the middle school. And then my first teacher of English really inspired me, and I helped myself with movies and music, and of course books.
So you read books and you watch movies, you listen to music. Do you think it's easy to do that, to learn English?
Yes, it's very easy.
And interesting.
Yes.
Thank you, Romeisa. Dr. Buthaina, you heard her answers?
Oh yeah, pretty well. But if you allow me just a few seconds, I want to get back to the latest remarks before that.
Okay.
And that was, how all these folks have learned English, and how, despite all the difficulties, which I haven't mentioned, but I believe the difficulties were there in terms of the environment. And this is extremely important, because the Algerian environment is not at all conducive to English. But this didn't matter when they had both the will and knew how to use the new telecommunication tools. And this is what's very important. The other thing I always go back to medieval Islam, because it's an amazing school, because it was a dominant, both language and civilization. We can learn a lot from it. First, translation. Second, how other populations in the Islamic Empire have learned Arabic. It's not only related to the Quran, which is quite obvious. It was also related to what a huge mind has told us centuries ago, and that is Ibn Khaldun, when he said that you learn language again in the street, and you don't learn it through grammar. You don't learn it because some teacher has been correcting your grammar or your mistakes. So this is extremely important to get back to at some point if people want to become specialized in the learning of any language as a second language, or so use and usage are extremely important. This is what I have to say. As far as our young lady behind me is concerned, I really think it is going to be the situation of a majority of young people who have thrown themselves into this huge web that nobody will stop. Nobody will ever stop, and this is what we have to take into account, that it's not a matter of whether you're going to be drawn back to your traditions or to your first language or to the colonial language, because as far as French is concerned, this is after all, this has been the colonial language, which we have been able to use later on. But French itself, both in France and outside France, is not producing much in terms of how it can help itself to remain international.
To remain international.
Everybody knows that.
Noor Brahimi, with your content that you have on YouTube, how do people interact with it, especially that's in English and only in English?
Surprisingly, they love it. I think they think it's different, and it helps them, you know, kind of get used to listening to English. But also the fact that foreigners are watching my videos to learn more about Algeria or even other countries I'm doing videos about. I found it very interesting that, you know, the feedback was really, really good. That I opened another channel to teach English for Arabic speakers, and it blew up, which was surprising. But yeah, I think it's really interesting, and a lot of people are showing interest in English, which is great because it opens a lot of opportunities and doors.
A lot of future doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you became a teacher then, you said?
I teach content creation.
In English?
In English for people from around the world. So that definitely helps. It helped me got multiple jobs, speaking in international events, and have my name as an Algerian traveler.
Yeah.
On the map in international conferences. So that definitely helped me.
And on the other side, for foreigners, how do they find your content, your English, your way of presenting it?
As in, they don't judge. They appreciate, like, if someone who's not like native Arabic speaker, you'd appreciate them speaking Arabic, you know. So that's the same way.
Yeah.
But business-wise and professionally, I don't get any comments on that. You know, it's as long as, because I know I'm providing value in what I do.
Yeah.
Whether it's you know, in different kinds of things I do consulting, I do speaking in events. So I bring value to the table, and that's what matters.
And here we see you in a conference. What were you doing?
Yeah, this is the Women in Travel Summit. So I was speaking about growing as a female travel blogger for bloggers from around the world, and there was some tourism offices from, you know, all around Europe, which was really interesting. They really appreciated what I did. So yeah, that was really interesting.
And when you do that, like you as an Algerian traveler, when you go abroad, and how do you feel? Like what?
I was
you say thanks God English was present. Thanks God I master English. Yeah.
Yeah, I was proud because I was the only person who's Algerian, of course, who's living in Africa, who went to the conference, and it was really good, and it was really inspiring, and I felt the need to also be on multiple conferences around the world. So unfortunately, COVID happened, but I was to be speaking last year, 2020, in London, in the US, and in Asia as well. So, but hopefully after COVID.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Buthaina, you have so many things you want to say.
Oh yeah, well, lots of comments, especially on, you know, about the last speaker who answers actually your question about, you know, how English is important. It's not because English is important, it is because the usage of it has to be around, and she's an extremely good example about the fact that she doesn't mention the fact that she's sitting out of her chair and desk in a small, beautiful city in the north of Algeria, and that is Blida. And she's not a Blida dweller; she's you know, a world dweller. I mean, she is a world citizen, and this is the new civilization that is taking place. So I think that people should not go on wondering about the fact whether English is going to be used by Algerians and how to do it, etc., etc. It will be done. It will absolutely be done because it's a must. It is a necessity, and young people, as long as they are as passionate as these young boys and girls we have on
maybe the question is how to make this process.
Passion is extremely important in terms of knowledge acquisition, and they have the passion.
The question, Dr. Buthaina, maybe is how can we make this process go faster? Because it will happen one day. It's a must for today, but how can we make that go faster? We'll discover that after the break.
And these French universities, they asked for B2 level for English.
Basically, it was when I was like a young kid back in high school, or not middle school, I'm gonna say middle school, you know.
Don't you think that Dr. Buthaina is the right person to be the Minister of English or something like that? Who agrees? Raise your hands. Yeah, Noor doesn't agree.
And it all started as a delegate for me, then ended up being a chair of different committees such as the African Union, Drugs and Crimes, and a lot of committees.
Hello and welcome back. Back to you, Nasif Abdel Raouf. You, the current president of HALT Prize.
Exactly.
And this is one of the opportunities that you get because you are excellent at English. Tell us more about that.
Exactly. This is one of the opportunities that I found myself in front of. That was mainly because I knew how to speak English. I am sure that when you look at my profile, maybe other competencies that I have wouldn't show up as strong as English. And I think that it was one of the main reasons why I was selected to be the president of HALT Prize Algeria. So, and the best thing about this experience was that I was able to encourage more people around Algeria, around the country, in order to get out of their comfort zone and face the challenges. And
okay, tell us about HALT Prize. We are still wondering.
Yeah,
what's that about?
So actually, HALT Prize is the biggest entrepreneurship movement in the world. It's organized by the United Nations in collaboration with the HALT Foundation, and it's here in Algeria since 3 years ago. And we have been very happy to be represented by amazing startup projects that went internationally and represented Algeria and are represented now Algeria. We have more than 100 teams composed of 3 to 4 members who are representing Algeria in a challenge called Food for Good, which is a challenge who aims to find solutions to food sustainability, how we can make the food industry more sustainable in terms of protecting the environment, for example. And but I think that the most important thing through HALT Prize is we are changing the mindset of the Algerian individual, and we wanted to focus on the shadow areas of Algeria because we wanted to provide more opportunities and to make them actually interact with the international community, and that thing requires English. And you are seeing that young people in Algeria are very, very good in English, and they are able to maintain and to lead a change through their country and also the world.
The same, Mohammed Alwi, maybe you always say thanks to English that made you able to be the chair of different committees in Algeria.
Yes.
And you had the chance to meet thousands of people through your YouTube vlogs and podcasts.
So basically, being a chair, it was in a program called Model United Nation, which is basically a simulation of the real conference of the United Nations. The program itself basically is about, it is an instructive educational program that provides the opportunity for students to have a brief image of what the diplomatic, economic situation that happens during the United Nations conferences. For instance, let's say that there is a room full of delegation, and each and every student represents a country. So basically he is the delegation of a specific country. He represents the country and its policies. And there is a chair. The chair guides the debate and controls the path and fluency of the debate to come up with afterwards something called the draft resolution paper, which includes a lot of clauses and amendments concerning the solutions provided for certain kind of problematic that was proposed in the committee. And it all started as a delegate for me, then ended up being a chair of different committees such as the African Union, Drugs and Crimes, and a lot of committees. Thank you.
Fadwa Shawi, maybe your experience is a little bit different. You said you were in architecture. You come up with this book, new book, Hidden Sorrow.
Yes.
Which is great. Like as an Algerian novelist at your age, you give us this beautiful.
Actually, I was 23 years old. I was a student. At that time, I was a student. I published it in 2017 and had a second edition in 2018. It was a great experience. English allowed me to enter the world of writing, which is fascinating. English didn't only help me when it comes to writing. I also participated in an international competition in my field, architecture and urbanism.
When was that?
It was in Hungary. It was about built-in.
When was that?
It was in 2019.
Okay, a year ago.
Yes, it was a great experience when it comes to getting to know more about technology embedded in houses, and also about English. I was able to communicate with different teams from different countries, Spain, France, even France, the French team were speaking, they were speaking English. I was like, thank you God for English. I felt really comfortable in introducing the different techniques in the house, because we were supposed to talk about the different techniques, talk about what are the renewable energies that we want to promote for. Apart from that, English also helped me and allowed me to be a teacher. And now I am a teacher in Polytechnic School of Algiers, National Polytechnic School. And by the way, talking about that, my students, when they graduate, they ask me to write recommendation letter, which for French universities. And these French universities, they asked for B2 level for English. And that, I told my students, do you understand this? Do you see what these universities are telling you? For B2, you know, B2, we have A1, A2, B1, B2, and then C1, C2. B2, it's a high level, which means even French people, they are looking for a good level of English. So it's high time we woke up to the fact. And apart from that, it helped me to do voiceover, content writing.
Many things,
yeah, English is my savior.
Great. And why Hidden Sorrow?
Why Hidden Sorrow? Actually, a lot of people, I'm a good listener. So people came to me and told me about their stories, and they were like, please don't tell anyone. So it felt like there are a lot of souls that are hiding a lot of things, but they need the people to hear them. So I kind of wrote about that, and this is my first step, and it's not the last one, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, it won't be the last one. Thank you very much, Fadwa. I really encourage you and ask you to do more for you and for your students, to empower them, to let them learn this beautiful language and this very useful language. Noor Brahimi, you told us a little bit about the doors that English opened. And do you have something else like in your life? How did it really help you, this English?
I think, besides the fact that I'm a person who is always willing to learn, not only English but other things in which I need in my field, I think it's helped me be able to work from home, like she said, work from home in a small city where people usually complain, like we have job opportunities in big cities like Algiers, Annaba, maybe Wuhan. So I think it's helped me reach the world. So it's internet and English and my skills, reach the world, you know, from my room. So I think that is amazing. And I also want to tell people.
You couldn't do that in Arabic or in French or in.
Of course not, because who would listen to you? Who would, you know, people would need a translator. So today, we do need English because it's an international language. Maybe in the future it's going to change. Not in the near future. But also I want to say that we live in one of the greatest eras where you can be whoever you want from your room, just show your talent. But in order for people to listen to you, at least depending on who your audience is, whether it's, you know, professionally or personally speaking, I think English will help. I
think that we really must poll Algerian people about this question, how useful English is today, and how important is this language, and how we must really adopt it as a first language in Algeria. But maybe we cannot poll everyone in Algeria, but we can at least do it at this level at the studio and ask students who came from different schools and middle schools, so to see how excited they are about the idea. So the question is, do you agree to generalize the use of English in all the institutions in Algeria? Let's see your votes. Okay, green ones. All of them are green. We still have one red. And two reds didn't vote for yes for English in Algeria, but we have most of them have voted to have English as the first language or the language in all institutions in Algeria. Let's see one opinion of yours. Let's see who wants to. Yeah, go ahead, please. First, what's your name?
My name is Ryan.
Ryan,
Yeah.
Where do you come from?
I came from Babzawar, you know, I'm from Algeria, I'm from around here.
Okay, and where did you learn English?
So basically it was when I was like a young kid back in high school, or not middle school, I'm gonna say middle school, you know. I was listening a lot of, you know, to music a lot. I was listening to rap music and movies, watching a lot of movies. So that's where it came from, you know. And I really
Can you get the
didn't
microphone closer to you, please?
I really didn't learn much from the school. So it was about me, you know, making progress and making some improves in English by, you know, watching movies and listening to music and all that, and keeping, you know, people who speak English close to me so we can reciprocate the same energy, you know.
Very
And
good.
that's what it's about.
So you voted yes. You voted yes for
Yes, sir.
English in all institutions in Algeria. Why?
Because, you know, I think...
Why do you think it's that important to have English in all institutions in general in Algeria?
I think it deserves to be like that because, you know, like English is the most spoken language in the world, or like it comes in the third place after Spanish. So there, I think we need to, like most of the people in Algeria, like there's like a lot of good speakers in Algeria, I ain't gonna lie to you, but we need to generalize English too, because for me, like a language like English, like shit to be in the top, you know, in the top spot, even though like it's not right like at this moment, but it should to be like one of the main spoken foreign languages in Algeria, you know. So I totally agree with that.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
No problem.
You know, like, do you have something to say before, Dr.
Well, yes,
Boufaina?
I was even smiling when listening to his, you know, Louisiana English.
Yeah, his dialect, his accent.
This is beautiful. Yeah. It poses the question of identities, of the new identities of world citizenship, you know, because what is going to change is really quite surely that relationship to the to your first watan, to your first nation.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a new nation, and it is absolutely huge. It is also a new democracy because you give your voice to things that you like, to things that you're passionate about. It's not necessarily. It doesn't have to be relayed by politics. These 2 points
This
have
is
to
what
be
we did here in
taken into account.
Yeah.
That is, it doesn't only concern Algeria. The lingua franca of the world, by and large, will become English for quite a while.
Inshallah.
Now, if I may answer the question that you had.
Yeah, but before that, I just want to say something about the survey, because we had a study in its last survey, the Ministry of Education, the higher education ministry, let's say, had 94% or 94.3% of participants voted for English as a language of studies in Algeria. And I find this a little bit weird, because everyone is asking to have English as a first language, but we still don't have it as a first foreign language?
Well, I mean, because political decisions are always late, so they follow what society has decided upon, what society has chosen, and what people have chosen by and large, even we know when there is a resistance at the beginning.
You know what I wanted to say through this this show, Dr. Boufaina, is you know what? People are doing this effort. Many people are paying expensive to learn. Why don't we avoid them? All these difficulties. Why don't we avoid them? Those useless efforts. Because I'm sure you're happy about that. But imagine that you did English at primary school, at your primary schools. That would be better. I'm sure that would be really better for you and for the rest. So in here I remember like a very nice example to talk about, a very inspiring model of English. Here I'm talking about the huge effort that Rwanda government did one day to give the importance to English. They officialized it just after the genocide, and they had many difficulties. They struggled to get teachers, they struggled to get materials and everything needed for that. Here in Algeria, I don't think we have all those problems. Don't you think that today we really need to create something or an institution, maybe like a ministry that have like everything in related to English teaching, supply, English material, all that? Don't you think that it's really important to create it and to create it now?
I think that it is important. Of course it is important, but institutionally speaking, we have to be realistic. I think there will be both reservation and opposition to the fact that we will, generalize English, officially speaking. I think that we will have to wait a little bit, on that front. Now, talking about society and civil society per se, I think that the fact that we can have private schools in Algeria, the fact that we have different types of training here and there that our young people have followed are a good example of how you are going to expand the English language as a useful language. This is what I want people to understand. I think that with the English language we leave behind us very problematic debates, if you want that, about cultural identity, that you have to really protect your language, your national language,
That's important
versus the colonial language. The beautiful thing about the English language, it's not because it is the English language, it is because it is the dominant creative language all over the world, and this is what's important about it. It is simply a matter of how your society is going to become a creative society through this particular language without losing its identity or its identities. And so I don't believe that we will have something official like in Rwanda. I think Rwanda is a very...
You said you don't believe.
No, I don't believe we will have the same example.
Why? Why don't we have to? We have to believe in those initiatives. I guess this is the right time to do it.
I don't think that.
I really think that it's the right time to do it. And even the people who are going to watch us now, maybe we are going to have an impact on them. Don't you think that Dr. Buthaina is the right person to be the Minister of English or something like that? Who agrees? Raise your hands. Yeah. Noor doesn't agree.
No, I agree that it's not feasible.
Yeah.
Why?
Having a Ministry of English, I don't think
that's what
feasible.
we should do, I guess.
Well, I mean, this is your wishful thinking. It's all right.
You don't agree to be a minister?
Of course not, because I have already been a minister of
but a minister of English.
And I don't think I'll go back to that experience.
My God.
Simply because, I mean, I'm really a teacher at heart. I'm a pedagogue at heart.
This is what we need, people who've been in education for a while and people who are that wise as you are, Allah Barak. You think the right way of this matter. English, I guess that today must be a reality in schools, in institutions, everywhere in Algeria. Don't you think so, Mohammed Alwi?
Well, personally, I would agree with her on the fact that it would be a difficult thing to pursue. But it is, I mean, like,
feasible.
It is. But still, I mean, like, we should consider the facts, the cultural shock. I mean, like, if we are looking for a change, a drastic change, we should start from the roots, slowly, but certainly exceeding to the results that we're hoping for. So I gotta agree with her. I mean, like...
This is what I'm saying, Fedwa.
Well, it's not that the
Sure you agree, Fedwa.
Yes, because I believe that this generation can do a lot of things. This generation can do a lot of things. However, not in one night, but we can. together we can do that.
Inshallah, together we can do everything. And this is why we say خلونا positive to inspire people do that. We don't have only only our viewers, the people who love what we do as a show. We have also responsibles who can get that impact and who can get that. We have future generation deputies who can make this come true. And I think it's the right time to do it. I'm not sure why you see it like you're doubting that it can be possible, Noor.
I agree on the fact that it should be implemented in primary school and middle school and all the way
but
to
change can be with our hands.
No. Yes, we can.
This is what I wanted to hear from
I just want to say that a ministry for language is not feasible. But of course, implementing a language in, and changing how things are working is feasible, of course.
Nasif, you didn't say anything about that.
I do agree with what Dr. Buthaina just said.
Oh my God.
No, the same point. I think that implementing the language and trying to teach kids since their early age English is very important, because cognitively, people who learn English in a very early age they have an emotional understanding of the language, as opposed to people who learned English in a later stage. They have more rational understanding to English. So I think that it is very feasible, but implementing in the ministry, I think it's too much to ask for.
Okay, it's just a suggestion anyway.
I told you it's a wishful thinking, but it's quite welcome.
It's a wishful thinking, a positive thinking.
Right.
I said that because I really think, I do believe that this is very important.
True.
And if it's that important, it needs so much care at school. Anyways, thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, the current president of Health Prize Algeria, Nasif Abdelraouf. Shukran. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also the young novelist and architect Fedwa Shawi, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Statistics and applied economics student Mohammed Alwi, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Noor Brahimi, the content created and EU Goodwill Ambassador in Algeria. Noor Brahimi, thank you. And Dr. Buthaina Shrayat, the retired professor from the University of Algiers and PhD in comparative education from London University. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I say a last word? May I very briefly again remind you that English is in the streets of Algeria and that it will be all over the place in the next few generations.
Inshallah, this is what we hope for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and see you next time, inshallah.
Inshallah.